Ever wondered how a chain of remote islands in the vast Pacific Ocean became the nation we know as New Zealand today? It's a story of epic voyages, cultural encounters, and groundbreaking social change. Let's journey back in time and uncover the incredible history of Aotearoa, the land of the long white cloud. Our story begins not with Europeans, but with some of the most skilled navigators the world has ever seen, the Polynesians. Sometime around the 13th century, after incredible journeys across the open ocean using only the stars, sun, and currents, these explorers arrived and became the first inhabitants, the Maori. They established a rich and dynamic society, developing deep connections to the land, or Whenua, and creating a culture that remains vibrant and central to New Zealand's identity today. For centuries, Maori were the sole inhabitants. Then, in 1642, a new set of sails appeared on the horizon. Dutch explorer Abel Tasman was the first European to sight the islands, but his encounter was brief and hostile, and he sailed away without setting foot ashore. He named the land New Zealand after a Dutch province, a name that stuck. The next significant European arrival wasn't for another 127 years. In 1769, the legendary British explorer Captain James Cook arrived. A brilliant cartographer and navigator, Cook and his crew, including the Tahitian navigator Tupaia, who could communicate with Maori, spent months meticulously charting the coastline. Cook's voyages opened the floodgates. Whalers, sealers and traders soon followed, drawn by the island's rich resources. This marked the beginning of a period of intense and often difficult interaction between Maori and the newcomers, known as Pakeha. By the early 1800s, European settlement was growing rapidly. Muskets, introduced through trade, dramatically changed the nature of inter-tribal warfare during the Musket Wars, a devastating period in Maori history. At the same time, missionaries arrived, introducing Christianity and written language. Amidst growing lawlessness and the scramble for land by settlers from various nations, the British government felt increasing pressure to formally intervene. This brings us to one of the most pivotal and debated moments in New Zealand's history, the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi in 1840. On February 6th, representatives of the British Crown and numerous Maori chiefs signed this founding document. The intention was to establish a British governor, protect Maori land rights, and give Maori the rights of British subjects. However, significant differences between the English and Maori language versions of the treaty have led to centuries of disagreement over its interpretation, particularly concerning sovereignty and land ownership. The treaty established New Zealand as a British colony, but the seeds of future conflict were sown. Tensions over land ownership, fueled by the settlers' insatiable hunger for farmland, inevitably boiled over. The New Zealand Wars, or Maori Wars, were a series of conflicts that raged from the 1840s to the 1870s. These weren't just simple skirmishes. They were brutal battles fought over sovereignty and land. Despite courageous resistance, the wars resulted in significant loss of life and the widespread confiscation of Maori land, profoundly impacting Maori society for generations to come. While conflict raged, the colony was also taking shape. In 1852, New Zealand established its own self-governance with an elected parliament. The discovery of gold in the 1860s, particularly in Otago and the West Coast, triggered massive gold rushes. This brought a flood of new immigrants from around the world, boosting the economy and population and shifting the country's demographic center to the South Island for a time. Towns sprang up overnight, and the wealth generated helped fund the development of infrastructure across the young nation. As the 19th century drew to a close, New Zealand began to forge a reputation as a progressive social laboratory. In a move that sent ripples across the globe, New Zealand became the first self-governing nation in the world to grant all women the right to vote in 1893. This was the result of a tireless campaign by suffragists like Kate Shepherd and was a landmark achievement in the fight for gender equality. The 20th century saw New Zealand step onto the world stage. New Zealanders, or Kiwis, served with distinction and immense sacrifice alongside Britain in both World War I and World War II. Events like the Gallipoli campaign in the First World War became a cornerstone of the nation's identity, forging a sense of national pride and loss. While the country had been self-governing for decades, it wasn't until 1947, with the Statute of Westminster Adoption Act, that New Zealand formally achieved full legislative independence from Britain. The post-war era brought prosperity and further social change. The government focused on creating a welfare state, aiming to provide for its citizens from the cradle to the grave. In the latter half of the century, there was a growing Maori renaissance. Activism and protest, such as the 1975 Land March led by Dame Weena Cooper, brought the unresolved grievances of the Treaty of Waitangi back to the forefront of national consciousness. This led to the establishment of the Waitangi Tribunal to investigate treaty breaches and has resulted in significant settlements and a renewed effort to honour the treaty's principles. Today, New Zealand is a modern, multicultural nation, grappling with its past while looking to the future. It continues to be known for its stunning landscapes, its innovative spirit, and its ongoing journey to reconcile its bicultural foundations. The story of Aotearoa New Zealand is a complex tapestry woven from threads of Polynesian navigation, Maori resilience, European settlement, conflict, and a pioneering spirit of social justice. It's a history that is still being written every single day. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through New Zealand's past. If you found this interesting, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into history. Let us know in the comments what piece of New Zealand history fascinates you the most. See you next time.